Hello, and welcome to Context Free, where we talk about programming languages. Today I want to talk about operation pipelines and static single assignment representation. I'm going to start in Blender because, as I discussed in my Godot shaders video, visual programming languages have nice functional aspects to them. Here I have changed my view to the shader editor down here, and I've also changed my rendering up here to viewport shading, so I'll be able to see the effects of my materials. And I'm just going to do a very simple example here to demonstrate. So let's add some noise and to connect the grayscale over to the color of my material. So now I have this nice grayscale noise on here, and I can add another operation. Let's add some contrast in here. And one of the things that I find important in programming languages is that the editor is not entirely separate from the language itself. And one of the things that's interesting about the shader editor in Blender is that I can add a new operation into an existing pipeline by dragging over the middle, and it gets connected into the middle automatically. Now I can adjust the contrast easily here. Sadly, I can't as easily reorder these operations once it's in place, but it's still a nice feature to add a new one into the middle. Let's see how this relates to textual languages. Here we are in Python. I'm going to do a very simple example here where I'm going to take strings of words, such as hello world or that's how it goes, and I'm going to modify it to show in a full stop format. Hello world, that's how it goes. Sort of a silly example, but it relates to real things that happen in the real world anyway. And it's an opportunity to look at operation pipelines. So for each of my strings, I'm going to do a full stop reassign, because I'm doing a reassign version of a pipeline operation. So I receive the text, I split it into words, I capitalize each word, add a period onto the end of each, and then join them back into a single string and return that. And that's what I get as my output here. Is this a reasonable thing to do in Python? Personally, I think it is. And we see, for example, if we search, we'll find a number of examples of these kinds of assignment pipelines within the source of Python itself. In this example, there's an HTML escape operation where you have to make sure to replace the ampersand first before doing other replacements, or else you might end up escaping your escapes. And if we come back over here to this example of my full stop sentences, we'll see the same effect here. So say, for example, I want to do an additional formatting operation on the results of this full stop here. So we're going to want to center it in the middle of 20 characters and or chop it off if it gets too big. So for example, hello world gets centered, and that's how it goes gets chopped off. Now, say it had a bug in here. Say instead of putting it at this point at the end, I'd made a mistake and put it at the beginning. None of us would ever write a bug, would we? Anyway, so if I had done this version, notice that it's formatted things to within those 20 characters too early and has the wrong effect. And notice that I can drag things back and forth, somehow I could insert an operation into Blender, and here in fact I can even reorder operations rather effectively. So there's nice ergonomic value to these assignment chains in Python or other similar languages. On the other hand, this is a very imperative form of operations. And if we look at this, we see that VS Code Python extension knows that things are changing as we go. At this point, I came in as a string, but I previously came in as a list. But I started as a string. And in fact, one of the interesting things about a VS Code Python extension is that it interprets each assignment as if it had been a new declaration of the variable. So for example, that's where this variable came from, and that's where this one came from, and so on up the chain. So let's see how this affects processing when we have conditional operations occurring. So if we come over here to our center chop function, it will figure out first if the text is too long, and if so, ellipsize it. And if it's not too long, it will center it within the space. And the question is, where does this text come from? Is it this one or this one? And the answer is it punts and just says, goes to the previous one before the if condition ever happened. This relates to the topic of static single assignment, which is often used as an intermediate representation in compilers. Static single assignment requires that each variable is assigned exactly once. And there are a number of benefits to this because if you're not reassigning your variables, it's much easier to reason about and therefore perform optimizations. And in the simple form, what happens is right here, for example, y equals 1, y equals 2, x equals y. We end up renaming these variables to y1 equals 1, y2 equals 2, and x1 equals y2. At this point, we see that y1 is no longer actually being used, and it becomes easy to optimize that away. To look at a simpler example here inside the Python, we can imagine the same thing here. Somewhat similar operations. We're going to receive a variable a, double it. If it's greater than 3, do one thing, otherwise do another. The question is, what happens internally? And in order to demonstrate this, I'm going to use the Elixir programming language. Worth noting, I'm using Elixir 1.2.6 because in Elixir 1.3, they actually deprecated the ability to do reassignment inside of if conditions, and by now actually does not support it at all. So I can use an old version of Elixir in order to demonstrate this. The interesting thing about Elixir is that it compiles down to Erlang, and Erlang does not allow reassignment of your variables. So the question is, how do they do this? If we compile this down to the Beam virtual machine, we can also decompile it and see what the effective Erlang is that's happened here. So it says a equals 2 times a, it actually says a2 equals 2 times a1. And for the true condition, if a is greater than 3, we say if a2 is greater than 3, a4 equals a2 plus 1. For the false condition, we see a3 equals 1 minus a2. Then we have a4 equals a3, such that now we have a4 being our new value either way. And at the end, we return a4. Now, of course, in Python, instead of writing it as a chain of assignments, we could write it as an expression form, in which case we're more functional and we don't have, for instance, maybe a chance of accidentally reassigning a variable. And in this form, for example, here, we're going to say split the word, then capitalize each word, put a dot on the end, and join them together again. If we run it, we see the result we expect, except our centered chop doesn't happen. This is the example of what happens if our centered chop had been left in the wrong position. How do I organize this into a version that doesn't have this bug? Well, I made a mistake. If I want to fix this bug, I need to put it into a new spot, which is going to be much more painful than it was in the chained version over here. So for example, I can take this and put it at the beginning, and I can take this and put it at the end. Maybe I should reformat it a little bit so it's readable. And if I did it correctly, we should be back to how we had before with the center chop happening at the end. And that worked out. But notice the amount of pain involved versus just dragging this thing around. Much less painful. So let's go ahead and see how this relates to similar kinds of operations in Elixir. So Elixir really is functional at its heart, just like Erlang is, even though earlier versions of Elixir allowed arbitrary reassignment across different conditions. Let's start originally with our reassignment version. Okay, so we can see what's happening here. Text equals string.split text. We're going to map that across capitalize. We're going to put a dot on the end, space together, and then chop it or center it to 20 characters and return the result. Let's go see how that works out. Sweet, just like we expect it to. Now the thing is, being functional language, ideally we're not actually doing these kinds of things. And Elixir has this nice feature called a pipeline operator. Now we're all familiar with piping if we've used a command line before. For example, I can list the files in my directory, or I can pipe them to a line count which tells me how many files there are in my directory. So this pipe operator takes the result of a previous operation and feeds it into the next one. And it's exactly what the pipeline operator does in Elixir. So instead of saying text equals, text equals, text equals, I can say text split, pipe that to capitalize, pipe that to putting a dot on the end, pipe that to join, and pipe that to the center chop. Now, just like I could do with the assignment chains, I can also reorder these quite easily in my editor using the pipeline operator. And just to prove whether things are working correctly here, let's run this through Elixir as well. And we see that it works just as before. Only now we get our functional expression as well as an easy chain of operations. Note as well that since Elixir has this pipeline operator, we don't see as many examples in its own source code of deeply nested function calls, though they do exist. No real examples of chained assignment, but many uses of the pipeline operator itself, because apparently it's turned out to be very useful in practice. And Elixir is one of the languages that has popularized this feature as well. However, it also exists in OCaml and F#, notice with the exact same operator syntax, is being proposed for ECMAScript. And you can also do various piping operations with third-party libraries in Python. Related to this as well is Uniform Function Call Syntax, or UFCS, which has been proposed for addition in C++ and has been added to D and NIM. So the way this works is that even though you write your functions or procedures as standalone functions, you can call them as if they were methods on the types themselves. And this provides the same kind of benefits a pipeline operator does, although a little bit less explicit about what's happening behind the scenes. So there's pros and cons here. Meanwhile, while uniform function call syntax hasn't been added to C++, we will see similar kinds of functionalities to pipeline operators in C++ 20 ranges, which I hope to cover in the future. And remember, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe. Bye, y'all.